All right. What's up, man? YouTube, Instagram. How y'all doing? What's up, Quintana? How's it going, brother? See you out there working that gun, man. We're gonna do a Q&A today. Like every Wednesday, y'all know these are super deep questions, life-changing, altering. I got my little baby out. You guys have seen this guy, my little 43. We're gonna be talking about some of the staples of survival, general preparedness, after the questions. So I'm gonna try, just fed the baby. She's chilling, laughing at herself over there. So let's get started. For those of you on YouTube, I have questions over here on Instagram that you won't see, Instagram will, but definitely be able to hear them as we go through them. Cool? What is today? Today is February 24th. Let's see here. First one from you, Pekka. Plan for forward growth on the YouTube. So, YouTube, my plan for growth on here is just to consistently post. I went through a 2-month lull on here, you guys, for those of you who are on my YouTube page, because we had the baby and my schedule was just stacked. I mean, just busy. I also got, pretty sick in that time. So I had a pretty consistent, algorithm and flow that was built up over the last year. And then it kind of all got pushed down. And now we're slowly bringing that back with the last 3 videos that I've done. So that's my plan, just to continue post weekly and continue to grow it just organically, really. Hey, Paula. How's it going, homie? Oh, and I'm missing something over here on Instagram. What barrel did you use with your comp? This one has a agency arm 943 barrel. It's in, what is it, titanium nitride, gold? That's what I use for it. Good question. Let's go back here to the other ones here. Who is that? Is that Chanel? What's up? Any mobility training in the future? For those of you guys on YouTube who don't know what that is, mobility training is something that I've been contracted to do with Fieldcraft Survival. It is a vehicle-based movement, and essentially we go out. The beginning courses, I think, are the more popular ones, and I think it's probably better to do that. I do have a couple advanced ones that I've written the curriculum for, but I'm not sure how relevant they are. But the question is there any more mobility training in the future? And I don't know. As of right now, no. This year, I was trying to get more of a traveling schedule for locations and content. But, I mean, if we have high enough demand, you never know. So I'm sorry I don't have an answer for that one, Ernie, but yeah. What's going on, guys? I see you. Miss you too, Paula. Did you see our picture was on the big Fieldcraft Survival page today? Here's an important one. Strawberries. Any more strawberries? No, man, the kids destroyed them. There's probably like 2 more growing, but I'm assuming that they'd do a little better during spring here. That's the shift in temperature and whatnot is about to hit us. So yeah. Here we go. More of a suggestion. Would love to go to a class more specific to water crossing. You know what? Me and you kind of talked about this a little bit in the DMs, right? So that is one of the advanced courses are broken up between terrain and then mechanical features and stuff like that. So it's a possibility, like I said. The thing about courses, what's your next course you will be at? See, I don't have one. That's what we're kind of talking about, Jonathan. Courses are kind of up in the air. The demand is huge. Like whenever Fieldcraft posts them up, they're like gone within a couple days. The issue though is we need to build more media, in my opinion, in order to kind of explain the reason why we're talking about it. And that's what we're gonna do today. Like that's the whole point of what I wanted to talk today about was mobility and preparedness and kind of briefly explain that stuff, address Texas. There's some things going on in Texas that I want to talk about, but these questions are like right on, guys, seriously. Let's see here. Let's get back to Instagram. Here's a question here. What's next for the Ecodiesel? Good question. So I'm taking the Ecodiesel to Utah this weekend for the Fieldcraft Survival grand opening, the new office space in Heber City. So it'll be there, but in terms of what's next, I'm trying to think. So I have wheels for it. Actually, you know what's next is suspension and tires. That's what's next for it. So that's kind of an easy, because I don't want to go too in depth on that one yet. Number one item on mobility besides a med kit. So there's 3 that you should have for mobility. Med kit is one of them. The next one is a fire extinguisher, A, B, C rated. That's for all the kinds of fires that you're going to encounter. And the last one is recovery. You should have some kind of recovery for your vehicle. That is a 4-wheel drive. Good question, homie. Good to see Doc helping out in Texas. You know, I haven't met him yet, man. I just follow him. You know, I just kind of watch everything that he's doing. Let's see here. We got some more questions coming in. Actually, I feel like I have a ton of these now. Remember last time we went like 45 minutes just on questions alone. What's next for the Gladiator? So the Gladiator, I just partnered with Steer Smart, for those of you guys who didn't see on my Instagram page story. And I have a full steering for them. So it's drag link, tie rod, track bar, all adjustable, all chromoly, all made in the United States. And then what is it called? The steering stabilizer relocation, so it'll bring it up. The one I have on there is just destroyed, man. Actually, I probably destroyed that before I even lifted the vehicle, so it's going to be cool. Good stuff too, man. It's expensive, but man, just looking at it firsthand, it's beef. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's in my story. Next question: are you going to EJS? So EJS is Easter Jeep Safari. As of right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going. My KC Highlights family has some group stuff for us going on, and I definitely need to get my Gladiator in there for that. Originally, I wasn't planning on it because there was some conflicting information about it being canceled. So even if I got to go and just sleep in my tent, I'm going to go. If not, maybe I'll get like an Airbnb or something, but I do plan on going to Easter Jeep Safari at the end of this month, beginning of next. Hopefully you guys are out there too. Let's see here. I saw Kevin's vid on YouTube. What scope did you trade him for? Oh, yeah. So Kevin P. Owens just did a really great mobility kind of loadout video on the Fieldcraft Survival channel. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go do that. And he did showcase his Snowmaster. It says Dometic on there, and he said it's not a Dometic. It's a Snowmaster 60 liter. And what did I get? I got a Bushnell Elite. Actually, the scope that you see on my 6.5 Creedmoor, my gas gun, that's the one that he gave me. Thing's amazing. Front focal plane. Yeah. Good eye though. I'm glad you put that together on there, because he did say that. So you guys are watching YouTube. We got some cool stuff coming up on YouTube. Let's see here. Is the King of the Hammer video coming out soon? Yes, YouTube. So I did see a rough draft of the beginning, because I think there's 2 videos that Fieldcraft Survival is producing. We shot so much content. Excuse me. And it's kind of like a mini documentary. It's amazing. I mean, it totally exceeded my expectations. The media team is phenomenal. Julian and Austin and Rob, they're all amazing. Shout out to Julian, you're the man. Savage, freaking brute. So it should be coming out. Actually, it was supposed to come out this week, but they're having just a couple of things that we got to finish with, like a podcast or something. Oh, that's the other thing. We did do a podcast, for those of you guys who are on YouTube too, on the Fieldcraft Survival podcast. My name and Derek Miller's name is the search on it, and we kind of talk pregame before King of the Hammer. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't already. Good question. Oh, here's another one. Are you teaching any new mobility courses? We already talked about that. What did you get from Steer Smart? So I kind of talked about that already. Just all full steering, upgrades on the Gladiator. Right now, the only thing that I had on it was a sector shaft brace and bracket, and I had a track bar that I'm going to be replacing on it. Good question. You find ammo? I did. So if you guys saw, I posted it up on my story. Check out Grind Hard Ammo. It's a guy named Austin Weiss. He's very, very popular. He's in Florida, has a company that typically that's his like motto, grind hard, stay humble. So grind hard ammo is where I got it from. Man, that's expensive though. If you guys are needing it, he updates 3 times a day, and typically it's on there, but it's kind of pricey right now, man. And I don't see it coming down. So when you can find it, just do it. Next question. What boots are the ones on your story? Those are my Vans. So they have, what are they called? The MTEs? They're the highs. So Vans just broke out into like legitimate hiking boots. They're not just, showy or flat skate shoes. They're not at all. They're actually legitimate hiking boots. They have a legit sole on the bottom. It's hard. So if they're good in the rocks, they're going to do what they need to, and they're super comfortable. I just got them yesterday. They're like sold out across the website, but I was able to find some that were like half the price at our local Vans. So super excited. I'm going to run those here up on our upcoming trips for sure. A couple questions. I'm trying to get through these so we can talk about preparedness stuff. But what is your next trip? Next trip is this weekend. We are going to Heber City, Utah, to be at the grand opening of the new Fieldcraft Survival retail space / office in Utah. So I will be there. I put up a poll for what you guys wanted to see in terms of my vehicles at Heber City for the grand opening, and of course everybody wants the Gladiator. However, I know that's what you guys want, but I'm gonna take the Ecodiesel, the Wrangler, because one, I haven't done any real long-term trips or long high mileage trips, so I want to see how that performs. Plus, it's still factory suspension, so I want to get a good baseline of that. It's only got like 1,700 miles. We bought it with 3, right? So I'm going to take that. It will be showcased there in the headquarters in the opening, and the inside of it is completely where I want it, right? It's got all the same stuff. Remember, Rescue JK or my JK that I had for many years that probably you're more accustomed to in the beginning of this. It's got all that stuff. So it's got a Boss Strong Box. It's got locking storage. It's got a fridge. All kinds of really cool stuff in there too. So that is probably what I'm going to take. That's going to be my next trip. Then hopefully Easter Jeep Safari. That's it. What's going on, fam? Can't wait to see how those long miles go on. Yeah, man, right now the short miles are like 23, 24 mpg. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. We're getting through these questions, guys. I know I got a couple of you on here. And then we're going to talk about some preparedness stuff and whatnot. Okay, this kind of goes in line with it. How you liking the Ecodiesel? Dude, I love it. In terms of short term and like first impression, I really like it. You guys know that I had and still do have some reservations about that motor. Some of the guys right now that I know that own it have had minor issues with it. It is already a 3rd gen V6 turbo diesel. They've changed it 3 times because of the initial issues, preparedness time. And I love it. It's just really a matter of long term and how it performs over the long haul. That we'll see. It still kind of was just, hey, you know what? If it happens, we'll deal with it. I hope it doesn't in terms of breakages or whatnot. But I mean, I really like it. There's no negatives. We got fully loaded Rubicon, so nice upgrade because the last one was a Sport S. So I love it so far. Ooh, best EDC. So I have it over here. Let me see. If you haven't seen already, maybe I don't know if I put it in my story. I might not have. Glover just did a video on the best EDC, and I totally agree with him. I honestly feel like a Glock 19 is going to be your best bet when it comes to EDC. Check out his video on his page, and I believe it's also on the Fieldcraft Survival channel if you guys want to see that. So, Glock 19, probably Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. I'm really liking the new Gen 5s, by the way. Let's see what else we got here. This one's from Mason. When we doing a podcast for LD, for Lineage Defense? Hell yeah, brother. Let me know. Maybe when we get back. Mason's going to be with me too, I believe. Maybe when we get back from Utah, we can do that. The MCV slide is so bad. My slide is a dynamic weapon solution. HKVP9SK. Gucci. Actually, once I'm done with these Glocks, I'm probably going to go do that. But I think I got all of your riveting. Oh, no. Here we go. More questions. We'll do this. For 15 minutes. Do you think a two-door Ecodiesel will ever be a thing? I don't. It's kind of like, what's the point? It's like a two-door Gladiator, right? Like, why? Although, if we got a longer bed on the Gladiator, a two-door would be cool, but I don't know that there's merit for a two-door. Do you like tripitas? Bro, I love tripas, but they're terrible for you, so I don't get to eat them very much. More live watchers on Instagram or YouTube? Oh, Instagram for sure. YouTube's new for me, man. Like right now I had 5, 2, 4. It kind of fluctuates. And then on here I have like 13 to 20. This is a bigger page though. If I had the following on YouTube that I do on Instagram, I would actually be happier because YouTube's a lot cooler if you ask me. Go to kinetic rope. So check out my YouTube page. I have a full recovery kit loadout from Treaty Oak. I've used their dynamic or kinetic rope for many years now. If you guys have seen some of my past episodes here on YouTube, I have an episode where one of our buddies got stuck in a wash under like 4 foot of water. That's the rope that I used to get him out. All kinds of stuff. I have footage of it pulling out some of my buddies when we're in the snow, the sand. Treaty Oak, there is a full breakdown here on my YouTube of the Treaty Oak kit. It's got a kinetic rope in it. Make sure you check that out. Good question, Bub. Have you had any problems with the sway bar disconnect on Rescue JT? Yes, I have. The last time I was out, it was connecting and disconnecting. And then what I did is I flexed it before I made the appointment to go to the dealership, and I flexed it and tried to shut it on and off, and I haven't had any more issues with it. So when I took it in, they couldn't duplicate what I was explaining to them. Sheesh, what was going on? So they just sent it back and said, hey, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, don't worry about it. But yes, I have had one issue. It may be resolved. It may not be one of the other noises that was happening while that was doing that. Was something in the back that just needed to be tightened down. So we'll see, I guess. Yeah, I did see a lawsuit online about sway bars with Jeep, but I don't know. We'll see. Did I miss anything up here? Hold on, guys. I'm gonna check some of these questions. Yo, what's going on, fam? And then they get nasty about the Bronco and bring the 392 scoop. I might have missed that. All right, next question. Oh, geez. This one's kind of long. It's kind of hard for me to see. Question on aux switches. Debating on a 6-switch or an 8-switch, looking at running 12 lights between pods and bars, rock lights. It's so long, bro, that I cannot finish it. So sorry, that's all that it reads. I'm not sure where that ended up at. That's one of the things I'm learning here on this, you guys. When you're asking questions, it can't be like a paragraph like that. Ask as many as you want, but you got to keep them like one question at a time. Do you own body armor for a plate carrier or just bag inserts? Thoughts on civilian use cases? So I do own body armor. I do own plate carriers, several. And I think you just got to be very, very honest with yourself in terms of civilian use. 100% civilian should own body armor, night vision, all that stuff, period, because freedom, right? But understand that body armor is for assaulters. Typically, there are some applications that, and even I've kind of talked about it in some of my videos here on YouTube, with it having some self-defense applications. But, if you're not SWAT or kicking down doors and assaulting close quarters or military or contractor, there really isn't a reason why you would need it in terms of practical use, but there is merit for America. Own it, you need it, that's why I have it. So I hope that answers your question on opinions and stuff. Did we get through them? Oh, we're gonna end here. This is it. How do I mount 40s on my Prius? I don't know how I want to answer this. This is what you do. You take your Prius, you drive it off a cliff. I'm just kidding. You don't, bro. My bad. I got nothing. I got nothing for that. Made it a little smaller. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can get this last question in, and then we'll talk about preparedness. I know that's why we're here. 6 or 8 auxiliary switch, looking at a total of 12 lights, compressor, and winch. Always err on the side of more switches, period. I'm having a similar issue, man. I have the factory, what's it called? The factory 4 hard-mounted switches that come with the Rubicon. And it's just not enough. So I just get as many as you can. And, you know, accessories are always going to be there. I like to change my stuff a lot too. So there's that, right? I would say go more, even if it's more than 8, right? So YouTube, Instagram, I think we have answered all of our questions, and it only took us 20 minutes today. I want to touch on a couple things. If you guys have any more riveting questions like 40s on Prius, go Prius, no one. Make sure you get them in there. But today's post was pretty directed at what I wanted to talk to you guys today about in terms of Texas. If you want to go back, see my post, it outlines pillars of preparedness and it outlines the foundation, right? So one of the things that I thought was very interesting about recently what's been going on in California, it's California and Texas really that are in the spotlight right now. California had 100 mile per hour gusts a couple months ago or last month, and they had to do like rolling blackouts in order to maintain safety with the winds being so high and fires and electrical issues, right? So what that presents for us is a problem if you were in that area or in terms of preparedness of power, okay? Right now I have a little 3-month-old who's sitting across from me, and you know, there's certain things that we need in order to kind of continue on just normal day-to-day things. For the baby, you know, electricity is definitely part of that. If you're like say you're asthmatic or you have some kind of, you know, system for health reasons that you need electricity, you know, downtime like that is going to be difficult. But also if the elements or the actual environment is drastic, like 10 degrees or negative degrees or hot, it's also going to create some uncomfortable situations, but also, you know, exposure can kill you faster than most anything anyway. So electricity is a big deal. But the reason I'm saying that also is because in Texas, their power grid failed. There's a lot of political reasons that are coming out in terms of green energy, no, green energy, yes, blah, 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 blah. I guess we'll look more into that. It's not that I don't care. It's just not really relevant for the conversation that is electricity and how can I stay ready. What's up, Yeti Firearms? Me personally, you guys have seen me. I have been working on my old 2001 Class C RV. I have a complete lifeboat in the backyard. I know that's not an option for a lot of people, but it is something that I purchased 8 years ago. I think I've had it that long now. And essentially what happened to me in that scenario, I could just turn on the generator, sit in the RV, do what we got to do. I've stayed in that thing a week out on vacation, so I know that I can at least do that. It'll last me longer with replenishing, right? So that's one option. But one of the other things too for electricity that I thought that was very interesting, and we're also going to talk about water today, is go on YouTube and find, I believe it was This Old House I was watching, and they had an electrician come in and set up a system to where you can safely mount a generator to. Now, long-term food storage, I have 1 year. Excellent. I'm glad you said that. So side note, you should have 30 days of food storage for your home on the short term, and then just like normal stuff, right? Fruits, vegetables, meats, whatever that you typically use, you should at least have 30 days at the minimum. But if you want to do a year, you can do like freeze-dried stuff, go that. I showed a packet of, what is it? What's the freeze-dried one we all like? I forget what it is. Anyways, it expires in like 2052 or some craziness like that. So freeze-dried food is an option if you want to do that. Some MREs and whatnot in terms of food. But getting back to the electricity thing, look up on YouTube. This Old House has an episode where they do like a little transition switch that makes it safe. It's 220 volt. Sophia, can you come here, please? It's a 220 volt. I'm going to have to ask for help because the little one's getting upset. 220 volt. Sophia! 220 volt outlet. that you can plug in and essentially have like a 7,500 watt generator, and it will run just below or at around 25 amps, which is typically what your average houses will see, and then you'll be totally fine. There's a lot of information on it. There's even one where the guy they call it backfeeding. Essentially, all of our houses are already wired to do this. It's a little, maybe the word is risky, but all of you guys have it. If you have washer and dryer, that's power, right? Stuff like that is 220 volts. Essentially, you just plug in a big 7,500 watt generator into it. You shut the street off. You shut all the things down. In an emergency situation, you could just plug that generator in for your house right now. You just have to make sure you do it right, because backfeeding there's a little bit of risk to it. That's why I say the other one has a transition to where it'll monitor the street and also what you're putting in, so you don't fry the house, everything, fire, kill yourself, right? So that was a conversation. Definitely look more into that. Generators are a good thing to have. Electricity shouldn't be something that we go without. You may have your opinions about green energy. Solar panels, I've kind of looked into that too for the home. If you're wondering why we're talking about home, remember today's post was EDC, mobility, which is your vehicle, and then home, safe haven, or homestead. That's why we're talking about it. No, so just generator and a swamp cooler. I don't know much about them. Seen them SoCal. I'm not sure. Serious question this time. No power. How to keep house cool in Arizona? So this is perfect for this. One of the things that I'm currently going to do is I'm probably going to just go buy the generator because it's around $900. And then in emergency, if I had to, and we did have systematic failures like we're talking about California and Texas, I could just backfeed it, which I don't recommend. Don't get me wrong, okay? I was watching it. It's very easy to do, but there's a little bit of risk. And if you do it the right way, there's no issue. But I just want to eliminate all that. So I already called my dad. My dad's an engineer. And I was like, yo, Dad, we got to do this because I really like this. And I don't want to backfeed it. And he's like, oh, yeah. I mean, he's like, a couple bucks. He's like, we'll come and do it. So next week, me and him are going to work on the 220 outlet in the backyard. The cool thing about it is it doubles as an outlet, right? So you can put power in, which is, but also out from the street when everything's running. So my RV or trailer or whatever I have in the future, I can just plug directly into that. AC runs on that sucker, my lifeboat, whatever you need. It's a good idea. The generator, like I said, is around $900 for 7,500 watt. You can get them in propane or gasoline. And then you just have to manage storing fuel for that in the event of an emergency. Reason I bring that up again is because Texas went down, as well as California, rolling blackouts, power grid failures. That's the reason why I addressed it. The next one is water. If you guys look back, there's 7 pillars of preparedness. Water was a big one in Texas this last couple weeks. I believe I shared Dan Crenshaw. If you don't know who that is, he is a veteran. Special Force, I believe he was a SEAL, has a big patch on his eye. He is a senator for Texas, one of them. And he put up a post the other day that just blew my mind, because it's just, until you're put into a preparedness situation or a survival situation, you just don't know what you don't know, right? And he did a post where it said, how many of y'all this morning went and filled up water at your local community pool? And it just blew my mind. I really like him too, Luke, honestly. You getting propane or gas? So the one I'm looking at has both. You can do either or. And it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, think about that. So he did a real quick video pan, jokingly saying, check this out. He opens his ice chest and it's full of the pool water, right? And I thought about that, and most of the houses in our neighborhood, it's real common in Arizona to have pools. I don't have one just because wife is a little funky on them with being in the ER for so long and having all the kids that, perished or what have you the last couple of years. But when you're looking at a survival situation, I mean, you're talking thousands of gallons, right? Potentially, however big. And the community pool, which we have, was literally a place where Dan Crenshaw, Special Forces, I believe, like I said, he was a Navy SEAL, was in there, and he took his rolling cooler, dumped it in, and then rolled it back home. And people were talking about how, water is so essential. It's a pillar of survival, but water just on a day-to-day basis, since they didn't have electricity, compounded everything. So the pipes were bursting in their houses, causing major damage because they were frozen, and that specific area in Texas really doesn't see freezing temperatures, so their houses aren't, built that way. But people were finding that they would just roll over to their community pools or in their backyard, pulling that water out, using it to flush their toilets, using it for hygiene, using it for dinner, whatever. And then the city came on and said, hey, look, there is a boil warning out in effect. Make sure you're boiling your water from the tap. And then I saw a picture of it, and it was so gross. It was like brown nastiness. But remember, it is something that you have to have. It is a pillar. It is a basic human necessity. You're going to have to do what you have to do, right? So a pool, now in my opinion, has a survival merit to it, right? There's something, like I went back and I talked with Jeannie about it, and she was like, wow, I totally see what you're saying. Here in Arizona, that would be a big deal because water is scarce in the desert, right? Yes, I have Lake Pleasant north of me, and it's around 20 to 22 minutes to get up there, which isn't bad. But when we're talking about sustaining a house or a family or making it easier or whatever, is your priority or lines, man, a pool has merit now. It just blew my mind. Dan Crenshaw, y'all, he was the one who posted up there. You can see it in his stuff. So that's one way to get water. There's more like rudimentary kind of bushcraft things that you can do, like wrapping a bag around leafy green or needle green vegetation outside. But dude, you're in bad situation if you're waiting for that to evaporate, catch, and then filter that out, right? There's a couple of things that you need to think of when you're doing water in vehicles. Like, how am I going to store water, let's say in an overland platform or my Jeep, right? So I use Rotopacks, and they've recently become very popular in our conversations amongst us guys because they are a very easy way. They come with a mounting system. You can put them on a side-by-side, you can put them on a Jeep, you can put them anywhere. Actually, the ones that I have interchange between both my Wrangler and my Gladiator. Back to my RV, I have a 50-gallon tank in my RV that I can fill up, but it doesn't change the fact that if your pipes are ruptured and you can't access water, where are you going to find it? So 1, you got to find it. 2, you got to treat it. 3, you got to store it, okay? So those are the 3 things when it comes to water. Finding it, like I said, maybe it's a pool, maybe it's Lake Pleasant, maybe an area that's got a natural ground spring. For us, if you guys have seen my last YouTube video, the area that I'm at in the Hacienda Wash, natural ground spring, you can dig down a couple feet. There's lots of water out there, but again, you're leaving your safe haven, which is your home. Treating it, make sure you look into iodine tablets for individual use. Make sure that you're looking at bleach. You can treat water with bleach. Make sure you're looking at a filtration system. So you think about big particles first. There's a lot of really, especially if it's sitting, nasty things that happen to water. Parasites for one, lots of things. So even just getting a shirt, filtering it out, and then putting it through, some rocks, charcoal, whatever, filtering hard stuff out first, then boiling it, then doing all that. Make sure that it's the right stuff. Life straws are good. They are actually very good, especially for individual use. However, if you cannot backwash the life straw out with a clean source of water, there's a limited amount of time that you can use that, right? And if you're going long term, I don't know that I would use a life straw. How do you like the dynamic weapon slide? Dude, I love the dynamic weapon solution slide. So we'll show you a little bit. That's my 43. There's my 19, same slide. And then this one is not done yet, but it's my 17. So I love it. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to end on water. Just a couple of things to pay attention to. When it comes to the pipes breaking and in a frozen situation, what you want to do, and this is something that a lot of these people just didn't know, right? And I was even thinking about it. I don't know that I would have done this, even myself, looking in retrospect. I don't know. There's a lot of variables, right? What's up? What's up? Keep it simple. Essentially, what they should have done is turned the water off the main and then emptied out the pipes. Just left the everything running, essentially, and it'll just stop. So there's nothing in there. But is that where your mind is at when there's no power, right? When I saw Tim Kennedy, who was also in Texas, say that there was only one convenience store that was open and only for 5 hours, right? So it's kind of some of those things that if you're thinking about it, it's you're not really committing your bandwidth, right? You only have so much bandwidth to saying, you know what, I should turn off the main valve and empty out all my pipes because it's going to bust. Most people didn't even know that that's what's going to happen when it was starting to freeze, right? So it's just kind of some of those things that, man, we're learning a lot of lessons at the expense of what happened over there, but there's merit in communicating that, right? So water and electricity, we talked about generators, we talked about RVs, we talked about overland vehicles, we talked about EDC. All those things are foundational pieces, like we said. To kind of close everything out, I saw a couple questions come in, we'll end with those. Hard to react in disaster. Yeah, it is hard to react in a disaster, especially if you don't have a plan, especially if you aren't practicing with your family, right? You got little ones who are probably afraid, pipes busting, water everywhere, frozen stuff. You guys have seen the videos, right? They're bad. Yeah, it's just things to think about. Think about, you know, am I doing extreme hot? Am I doing extreme cold? Conversations to have, and then you don't know what you don't know. I was going to say something. Oh, yes. So the post this morning was, I'm from Minnesota. It works. Yeah. You would know, bro. It's super cold. So foundation. Think about it as a house. You're building a house. Foundation. EDC, mobility, homestead. What does that mean? EDC is everyday carry, just like the acronym says. You need to be carrying something on you on the daily basis. We talked about Glock 19. I said go look at Glover's video on the Glock 19. But don't just buy it, get training. The second one on the foundation was mobility. A vehicle doesn't necessarily have to be a designated overland rig. That's just the way that I've done it in terms of my Gladiator. In the past, when I was not financially able to do the things I am now, there's minimum things that you can do. Check out Kevin Owens' setup. Really good for that. It's all YouTube on Fieldcraft Survival. Fieldcraft mobility is the terminology we're using. Vehicle-based movements. It's a lifeline. We talk a lot about that. You can look at my different lives. And then your home or your homestead or your safe haven. I recently, which is probably the least amount of views that I've gotten, I've recently on YouTube here did a video on raised bed planters for my garden, right? And I'm going to end here. And it's just something that I'm trying out. You know, I don't really have any prior training. My mom and my sister are actually really good at it, so I do have, you know, some expertise to fall back on. So far, my peppers aren't doing so well. I think I lost like 3 of the 5 that I had on there. Plants anyways. My celery's doing great. Rosemary's doing great. Cilantro's doing great. My romaine lettuce is doing best out of anything. Like, it's just blowing up. My red lettuce, it was kind of damaged when I bought it, and then these stupid little sparrows came in and wiped it all out, but that's doing a lot better. Tomatoes are doing really good, and then my strawberries are doing really good. So if you want to see how I set that up, again, it's my entry into it. I'm not a pro on it. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing, and I think people on YouTube get caught up with the comments, well, that's not the way I did it. That's cool. Like, I'm not ever going to come in here and say that's wrong. This is all I'm showing is like my journey, and that's part of everything that we're talking about. You know, a lot of times dudes get really caught up on, well, I know more, or that's not the right way. Or fine, I'm gonna make mistakes. This is a journey, like I said. It's not the end all be all. But when we're talking about those 3 foundational pieces of the house that you're building, EDC, mobility, homestead, that's where we're at. After that, you have pillars, okay, that build off the foundation: food, water, shelter, comms, health, which is also med, okay, and security. Did I miss one? Food, water, shelter, fire. You have to also be able to make fire. Comms, health, security. None of those pillars matter if you cannot secure it, period, okay? So we're going to end on that. We'll expound more. I'm at 38 minutes. I think I'm doing good. My little one came and helped me out with the baby, and I got to go get Mikey. Let's answer some of these questions, guys. We'll end it here with some of these riveting questions. I hope you like the conversation. Great info. As always, man, keep it up. Excellent. Kevin Owens truck load out video. Check that out on the Fieldcraft Survival YouTube page. Also, like I said, the King of the Hammers page is coming out, or King of the Hammers video. It's excellent, y'all. I got a sneak peek of it. It's going to be, well, I think it's really great. Make sure that you share that one. That's the one that I really like to get out to everybody, because there is some questions here on why would a race be relevant to mobility. We answer that on that video. So I did container gardening for many years before moving up here. I was able to grow Tabasco peppers up until February indoors when I brought them back indoors. That's essentially what happened to me. They were just too cold. So we'll see. Questions. Where did you have your fire extinguisher mounted in Rescue JT? So I had a panel, a Molly panel, steel, from JCR that mounts Hop in the back corner of either side. So you know how the roll bar rolls down on your Gladiator? Right there next to it, it bolts to the roll bar, and then I mounted the fire extinguisher right to that. Good spot. It rattles a little bit. I did break it. There's a plastic mounting piece that wraps around and then just clips. Well, I took it off when we were in Utah last time. It was freezing, so when I took it off, it like broke the plastic. So I got to figure out a new strap for it. But good question. You need one. We're just finishing up questions. I believe that was the last one. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, I'm really pleased the way this went. Guys, if you want, I'm going to save it here to my Instagram page. YouTube, I'm going to save it here to my YouTube page if you want to go back and access it. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, tell your friends, share all this stuff. Please, we're growing, we're being consistent. I got some things coming up as the mobility director, Fieldcraft Survival Director of Mobility / Motorsports. Easter Jeep Safari is coming up, guys. I'll catch you on that. Keep the DMs coming. Love chatting with you. Love sharing this stuff. If there's anything else you want or need me to talk about, remember, we do these every Wednesday. We're going to keep doing them. Now I'm adding them here on YouTube. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.